Hello, welcome back to Math Time with Professor Prime, and I am your host as always, Professor Prime. And welcome back to Super Ultra Mega Math History Phenomenal Figures, the series where I talk about different figures in math that I find interesting and or awesome, usually both. And they typically change the game in some way, shape, or form for math, and oftentimes the world as well. And so in this video, we're going to talk about Florence Nightingale. Let's get into it. So, growing up, I learned about her in school. But what I learned was that she was a nurse, a very good nurse, an outright amazing nurse. And that's true. But back then, a lot of details were left out. And I feel like a lot of people don't know the details that I'm going to mention. If you do, props to you. If you don't, I hope you enjoy what you're about to hear. So Florence Nightingale was in fact a nurse. And she was in fact an amazing nurse. But what you might not have known was that she went on to revolutionize the game. And she started to professionalize nursing. So a lot of what we have today is because of her. But it gets more interesting. Because in addition to that, she also contributed a lot to personal hygiene and what we think about that and what we do with that. Like a lot has been built off of what she's done. And she even had her own school and everything for spreading medical knowledge and training nurses. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. She had a school, she taught, she trained, all that good stuff, revolutionized the game. And so you're hearing all this, right? And you're probably wondering, what does that have to do with math, right? And that's a fair question. But I bring up what I bring up because the math is all tied to that. So all the stuff that she did with nursing, all the stuff that she did with personal hygiene, all the stuff that she did to progress professional nursing and just medicine as a whole was backed up by data. Because in addition to being a nurse, in addition to being a teacher, she was also a statistician, a mathematician, all that good stuff. And I think that's impressive. And she was also a pioneer in visualizing data. She did a lot with infographics and getting her word out. So yeah, she lived a pretty long life too. She was born in the 1800s, made it to the 1900s. So I think she was born in 1820 and she made it till 1910. So she lived to be 90, which is pretty impressive. And throughout that time, she did a lot. And a lot that we do today is based off of her and what she did. And I think it's just interesting that, when we learn about her when she's younger, or when we were younger, that we don't get to hear nearly enough about all the stuff that she did. Because even if you took out, like, the math, there still was so much that didn't get told. So I think it's fascinating. And then here, there's more than that, too, just the stuff that I mentioned. So she was also big into social reform and, helping people out. She was also big on making sure that women had solid foundation in math. She was big on supporting that and getting that out there. And I think that's all amazing. And she was also a writer. Like a lot of stuff that she discovered and did, she wrote down. And when it came to a lot of medical terminology and what was going on out there, she would write things in a way that a lot of people could understand, even if they didn't have the best literacy. And I think that's impressive, and there was intentionality to that, and I think that's pretty cool. So I wanted to see if there was anything else that I want to say. So in addition to writing stuff in STEM, she also wrote some religious stuff and also some things on mysticism. So that's pretty interesting. But she's multifaceted, as a lot of us are, because we get locked into a field, right? And we're more than just one thing. We're more than just our profession. And I think it's amazing that she did all these things. And I hope that someone watching this learned something from it. Because again, growing up, I just heard that she was a nurse. And again, that's pretty cool. But if you're gonna tell someone's story, it's just gonna be known throughout time. Like, tell more, right? Yeah. So that's my video on Florence Nightingale. Again, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you will see me in the next one. I definitely have a lot planned out for this series, and it's ongoing. So, yeah, keep on watching. And if you haven't seen my other ones, please do. I'm sure you'll learn something there too. And if you have something that you want to add to the conversation, feel free to. See you next one. Professor Prime out.